Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining me today. I'm Lorna Schumann with the Illinois State Museum, and today we are at the Research and Collections Center to learn a little bit more about a special type of animal that you may not have realized we have here in Illinois. Can you guess what animal that might be? Take a look. Did you guess the bat? You're right. In fact, we're going to spend some time talking about bats because we have 13 different types of bats here in Illinois. It's really cool. And if you don't like having bugs in your face, you should really love bats and really give them a lot of love. Of course, not holding them. But know that bats are really important to us because they help us maintain a good amount of bugs in the atmosphere, but they also help take care of things. So what else can we know about bats? Well, bats are actually mammals, just like we are. So what is a mammal? A mammal, just like us, is something that's warm-blooded. That means that their temperature stays just the same all the time. They also have hair or fur, and they give their babies milk when they're born. All of that is part of what makes them a mammal. And here's the neat thing about bats. Bats, out of all the different species of mammals, make up 1 out of every 4 different type of species of mammals on the earth. That's pretty cool. That means we have a lot of bats, just over 1,000 different species. Is that cool? It is really cool. Now here's something else. Here in Illinois, our bats are insectivores. Can you notice what part of that word you recognize? Did you hear insect in there? That tells us that most of our bats eat insects, and that's important for us. It helps keep those bug populations down. So here's something else that our bats do. They do one of 2 things in the winter. They either migrate, that means they pick up from Illinois and they fly south in order to get out of the cold. The other one is they hibernate. So some of our bat species hibernate. That means they group up together in what's known as a colony and hang out in a cave or a hollow tree or someplace that's very sheltered, and they slow down and go to like a long sleep, kind of like how bears do that. So that's something that's very important about them. All of our species either migrate or hibernate. The other thing is echolocation. They have a unique way of hearing things that helps them find the food that they want. So here's how echolocation works. If you say a word out and you're at a place where it echoes, that means it comes back to you, that means that the sound went out, hit something, and came back, and you could hear it again. For bats, they make a chirping sound. Sometimes we can hear it, and sometimes the chirping sound is outside what we can hear. It's kind of like chirp, chirp, chirp. And that piece goes out in waves. It hits a bug to let them know that there's a bug out there they can eat, and that comes back and tells them where the bugs are. In fact, you can often see them swooping around different places. So how many of you have ever been to like water after dark? So that's what happens, is all the bugs hang out near the water surface. The bats will send out their echolocation, it'll bounce back, and they can find their bugs. The other thing is that bats are nocturnal. That means that when we're asleep, they're awake. And when we're awake, they're asleep. It's just a way of saying they're active at night. And that's pretty cool. They're pretty remarkable flyers. They can go up and down and they can swoop. So they have really good way of moving on the earth. They can walk on the ground, but they're kind of awkward. So something else to know, and I'm going to use my bat puppet right here, is when they roost or go to sleep, they fold up their wings and they hang by their toes. from the ceiling, so they hang upside down. Now something else is when we open up our bat puppet here, we can see that they have these wings right here. And this is not feathery like birds, because they're not birds. But right here, this is a thin skin membrane that stretches across their wings. But their wings are really just very cool fingers. So you see this is their fingers down through here. And a way to do this with your own hand is take your thumb, stick it up, and put your hands down like this. Then you can bend your elbow a little bit so you can get the bend right there. So that's their elbow right in that section. And you hang it like this and spread your fingers out. That's their type of wing. And the skin on there stretches all across all their fingers all the way down to their body. It's what helps them actually fly. Now when you see this finger here, this long one, is like the middle finger right here. And you can see how each one of those are different pieces of their finger. You can also see this little bone coming out from the end right here, at the very bottom, right there and there. That's to help hold part of the skin membrane also. Well, I have brought two different types of bats for you to look at today. One is really common and the other isn't. So the first one we're going to look at is the little brown bat right here. This is the most common bat that you will see in Illinois. They're small, they're not very big, they are very bushy right in through here, and they have some brown on them, but hence their name, little brown bat. But here's the membranes on their wings, and you can see that very easily. They are seen often at night, and they feed over lakes and over other water sources. So that's when you can see them swooping down. It's also really common to find bats out around like our playing fields that have lights on at night. How many of you have seen something flying around up there? It's not birds, it's bats, my friends. And now what they're doing is they're there because the insects are there. Bugs are drawn to light, and then the bats come to where the bugs are. So something else is they're very dark brown on their body. A belly is slightly little yellow, and they're found throughout the whole state of Illinois, and they live in colonies. Now the other one, the Raffinesque, this guy over here, he's called the Raffinesque big-eared bat. Bet you can't guess how he got his name. You actually did, I know. His ears are really large. They're like rabbit ears compared to the rest of his face. The sad news about a Raffinesque is that he's on the endangered species list for Illinois. What does that mean? That means that there aren't that many of them left. And so we have to be careful because we're concerned or worried that they will all be gone, become extinct from the state. These guys are mainly found in the third southern part of the state, so southern Illinois, south of Springfield, where the museum is located. They live in colonies, in hollows of trees, or in abandoned buildings. Well, my friends, I hope you learned a lot about bats while you spent some time with me today. Thank you for joining me. Take care.